From KWTV, Oklahoma City, this is News 9 at 10.
Good evening. A family claims that Oklahoma law protects people who commit sex crimes against kids.
And that a 12-year-old relative is a victim of that law. Tonight, the girl and her family are speaking out to our Colleen Chin.
Amanda Kelly, this little girl's story is graphic, but she is adamant about telling it. She believes it's the only way to make a difference. We've protected her identity. She says the law is not protecting her. The letter of the law, it's supposed to help get justice.
That's the last thing I want is for them to do it to other girls.
We'll call her Kim. She's 12, she's traumatized, and justice is all she wants.
One of them holds me in their arms and pushes me into the parents' bedroom onto the bed, and they lock the door behind me.
Kim spent the night at a friend's house this summer. She says everything happened when 3 neighborhood boys showed up in the morning.
When that happened, they pulled up my shirt.
And she says from there, they forcibly fondled her breasts. It took a lot for Kim to tell her family, who then convinced her to tell police.
We encourage our kids every day to come out about sex crimes, and now we're telling these kids that nothing's going to be done.
A relative of the victim is talking about this Oklahoma statute.
I call the playing doctor statute.
It says when it comes to lewd acts against those under 16 and prosecution, it shall not apply unless the accused is at least 3 years older than the victim.
I started screaming and yelling them to stop it.
In Kim's case, she says the boy that held her down was 8, and the 2 that touched her were a little under 13. And so
the kids were not only able to get away with it, but in their mind, I could only imagine that they're thinking that that's okay.
She says a Cleveland County district attorney faxed her the statute as an explanation.
The intent behind the law is to say we don't make criminals out of children who are trying to explore life.
Mary understands that intent, but thinks unfortunately these days, kids aren't always kids.
It makes you realize how capable these kids are of knowing and understanding things about sex and sex crimes.
If I were the parents of a young girl, I would be highly upset. But the district attorney can only file charges that the legislature allows him to file.
It's why Kim thinks something has to change.
I don't sleep. I've been having trouble at school. We should be able to press charges. It's just not fair.
And the victim's relative wants the statute reworded, but the part in question is actually part of an amendment added to the statute in recent years. Kelly?
All right, Colleen, no comment from the Cleveland County DA, only that they cannot confirm nor discuss cases involving juveniles.
New developments tonight in a gun smuggling scheme allegedly involving an Oklahoma Bureau of Narcotics agent. Former drug agent Frank Reyes is charged with helping to smuggle firearms to drug cartels in Mexico. Tonight, the long arm of the law comes down on 2 more men believed to be his accomplices. Rusty Surratt joins us with the latest. Rusty.
Amanda, court documents show Reyes was heading up that smuggling operation here in Oklahoma, and authorities say he would find other people to help buy the guns. Jorge Alexis Blanco from Stillwater was allegedly one of them. Now, Reyes and Blanco were apparently business partners who planned to open up a hookah lounge together in Stillwater. Investigators say this is where several people were recruited to help Reyes buy guns, including Blanco, who purchased the guns on 4 different occasions, once even getting his girlfriend involved. Now, Reyes would then allegedly pay Blanco for the guns, but the buck did not stop with him. Authorities say Reyes would then give the firearms to this man, Gregorio Morales Martinez, an illegal alien living in the Dallas area. Morales Martinez would then remove the serial numbers, making them harder to trace, and arrange for the guns to then be smuggled across the border to Mexico. Now, today, a grand jury returned an indictment charging both men with conspiracy to illegally purchase 43 firearms in all. As for Reyes, he was back in court last month and waived his right to a preliminary hearing. Amanda?
All right, Rusty. And the ATF says they are dedicating more resources to combat gun running in Oklahoma and also across the nation.
New tonight, a Wisconsin DA accused of sending harassing text messages to a law student here in the city is now being forced to resign. The governor of Wisconsin says he has verified a complaint against Calumet County DA Ken Kratz, so he's removing him. Maria Ruskowitz is from Wisconsin, originally asked Kratz to help get a drug conviction off her record so she could complete law school. She says he agreed, but then started sending her sexually suggestive texts.
He had his hand in my future. He had his hand in the success of my going to law school and the success of being able to apply as a non-felon in the future. He had authority over me, and that could have been revoked by not sexually pleasing him, and it scared me.
When she finally reported it, they said it was too late because she had moved from Wisconsin.
Police are searching for a man who went on a crime spree Monday afternoon. The silver lining in this case, police know exactly what he looks like thanks to a quick thinking victim who caught him on camera, pulled out a cell phone, started taping the suspect. This man ended up robbing 2 car salesmen, a woman in a Target parking lot, and another woman at a gas station, all in Oklahoma City. If you have seen this person, police want to hear from you, 235-7300. And the man suspected of opening fire inside an Oklahoma mall faced a judge today. 19-year-old Dondre Fowler is accused of killing 1 and injuring 5 others inside the Arrowhead Mall in Muskogee in April. Today, the judge decided he will go to trial for first-degree murder.
The judge decided that there was enough evidence to bind our client over for first-degree murder and 5 counts of assault and battery with a dangerous weapon.
So Fowler will be in court again in November.
Chickasha is still trying to come to grips with the death of high school football player Cody Turner. The 16-year-old died last week after collapsing during football practice. Now one Chickasha business is trying to help and raise money for Cody's family. Liberty Drug is selling this T-shirt with Cody's name and number on the back.
I think it's wonderful. I think any way that we can do something in honor of this boy. This has been the saddest thing I believe that's ever happened in the city of Chickasha.
The shirts are $15, and we're told there are already 3 dozen orders.
Listen to this, a bold new prediction in campaign 2010 from one of the nation's most respected newspapers. The New York Times and an organization called 538 say Republican Mary Fallin has a 95.9% chance of becoming our next governor. It goes on as far as to say she will win with 55.3% of the votes. As for Democrat Jerry Askin's chance of winning, she's at just 4.1%. You can take a look at the study yourself. Go to news9.com/politics. But those numbers still are not keeping Askins from trying to win over voters on the Midway. She spent the day at the state fair. Askins says she goes every year to meet and hear from voters, but this year is even more important as we approach the November general election.
Usually I hear more of, we need to do this or can you do that. Today it was a lot of there was a lot of support and a lot of people telling me to hang in there, that they appreciate the job I'm doing.
Earlier this week, our Jennifer Pierce followed Mary Fallin on an old-fashioned day of campaigning on a whistle-stop train tour. That is also on news9.com/politics. Well, you've heard the saying here in Oklahoma, of course, football is king. And sports stars like Steve Largent and J.C. Watts often cross over into politics when their time on the field is over.
So tonight we're asking, just how much influence does football have on who gets elected? And we started with Sooner great and frequent political supporter Barry Switzer.
I usually go for the person. It's not the candidate, the party. It's, you know, and I've always been that way.
What a lot of people don't know about Barry Switzer is he's actually very politically active. And if you think about it, being the OU football coach, especially a legendary one, there's politics that comes with it.
And when Brad Henry needed to pull from behind and beat Steve Largent in November of 2002, some say it was Barry Switzer's support that scored him enough votes to take the governor's seat. Well, Switzer flexed his political muscles again tonight for underdog Democrat Billy Coyle.
Well, I don't know if it's sports, but what it is it's people that have a lot of integrity that are behind me.
Coyle is facing tough competition from Republican newcomer James Lankford in the 5th Congressional District.
Given the kind of year the Democrats are having, it certainly can't hurt to have Barry Switzer endorsing you or raising money for you.
I don't know why, but I influence enough people out there that because old coach goes along with it, maybe I will too.
And shifting now to a commercial controversy on the campaign trail. OU and OSU want their logos taken out of the latest TV ad for State Question 744. Probably heard about it. If it's passed, 744 would require the state to fund education at the regional average. Officials at the universities say because both are state schools, they can't take a side in politics. But presidents of both universities are expressing concern that State Question 744 could mean large tuition hikes. The group behind the ad argues it doesn't need permission to use the school's logos. By the way, if you want to study up on all 11 state questions on the November 2nd ballot, just go to news9.com/voting101. Coming up in just a few minutes on News 9, I will give you my 2 cents on state question 744.
Next on News 9.
The infestation that shocked the nation hits Oklahoma, where bedbugs are on the attack, and the high-priced gizmo that fights back. Next on the night side.
Big storm system to our west. We'll check that out, and the weekend weather, of course. Not bad.
The Houston Astros top farm team slides safely into Oklahoma City, and Oklahoma wraps up their game plan with the Cincinnati Bearcats. That's coming up later in sports.